So I guess we can probably just start with you, Susanna. I know one of the questions we did ask was like just to know um, people who are there working in the backgrounds in like Consec, for example. So I'd love to kind of like, oops, sorry about that. I'd love to have like a bit about you. Like, who are you? What is your background? What are your interests? And why you work at Consec?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here with you. Yes, well, I have worked in investment environment for 14 years, and with Consec, I've been for almost 3 years. I decided to work here because I remember the year 2007 when I invested my all money, which was the first big mistake, I would say. And I invested my money only a few weeks before mortgage crisis. And it taught me and showed me how investments work. And it was not due to my knowledge. It was thanks to my financial advisor, because he explained me everything and he showed me how I should behave. What should I do? Because at the time I was 20 and I wanted to withdraw all the money because I was afraid of losing everything. And he told me, don't do it because you will lose it. If you have some money, please invest it again, sorry. So I understood how it worked, and I understood and I realized how important the role of financial advisor is. So that's why when I had the opportunity to work in this field, I said yes, because I knew what you can do for the clients. And to be honest, since that time, the investments have become the natural part of my life, not only of my financial life, but all my life, because I learned that money makes money. That's great to know it. And it's great that I can mix what I like in this job, because I like business, I like the investments theme, and I like to teach. I used to be a teacher, and I love communication. I love working with people. And this all I can do as a key account manager for Ofo. So that's me. That's me and my life.
And like, what kind of like emotions? I mean, if you want to go, Leigh, or
No, you go.
yeah, like, a lot of people have watched a lot of films like The Big Short, and all these type of films about, investing and the mortgage crisis and everything. Like, what kind of like emotions were you feeling when the market was going down and your value of your investments were going down?
I was angry. I was angry because I didn't know that it could happen. And I was afraid that I will lose all my money. And that's why I'm really glad that I had that financial advisor who was very calm. And he said, don't do anything, just ignore it, wait. And if you have some more money, send it there. And that was great because, I was 20, I had no experience at all. And everything I did at that time was that I trust my financial advisor. So that was a great opportunity to understand the role of the good service of my financial advisor, and both the investment issue.
That actually, when you said how important the role of a financial advisor is, I really like that, because it truly is. It's like a coach or a teacher or a doctor. It's really important to have the right tools and to teach people what to do with them. And I really like that, because yes, there are, that you can have a bad experience for sure with some financial advisor, and that's why I myself as well got involved in this, because it's a great opportunity to show people how it should be and help others, like you said.
Yes, there should be really a good relationship. I think the communication and to trust someone, it's really important. Everybody needs to trust someone to communicate every problems. And I think that, for example, in relationship with your wife, you have to communicate, you have to trust. And the same you have to do with your private teacher, with your doctor, with your lawyer, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you are happy with this service, you pay for it. So that's absolutely natural, and people should understand why they should have financial advisor. And I think you advisors should be able to sell, to explain what you exactly can do for your client. That's great. And you can do everything for your client. You don't do only, you don't explain only, for example, insurance or investments. You can do everything. So you save their time. And people don't know it. And I'm sure that every time you meet your client, you should say, I've just saved your time. I've just saved your money.
Yes.
Because people don't know it. They don't realize.
Yeah.
They think, and I feel that they think that you need the clients. No, the clients need you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, well said.
Well said. I mean, like one thing that I came across this analogy that if a king or president, right, had a bad advisor, right, or made a bad decision based on the bad counsel by his advisor. The whole industry of advising is not bad. He just had a bad advisor. What he does, he looks for a better one. You know what I mean? And obviously the trust is broken. They need to be repaired with a new person that knows what he's doing. And having that right advisor for you was massive, because you would have saved a lot of money, and actually you would not have a bad experience or bad taste of investing or all this type of stuff, right? So actually, he not only just saved just your money there, but you would also say that he actually saved your money and for your family finances for the future, right? Yeah,
you're right, definitely.
It's massive. That's massive. So thank you for being vulnerable with us and sharing that.
And if you're happy with this kind of service, then you can recommend it. And it's very important to be recommended, right? So, yeah.
I mean, go on. Yeah.
I was going to say, and from that experience, it kind of led you into that path of wanting to be involved in investment.
Sorry, I'm not sure if I understood.
From that experience, that kind of gave you or led you towards that career in investing and dealing with
Yeah.
So with Consec, like it's fascinating. Most people don't know much about Consec. Like even for me, come from the UK, I didn't really know who Consec are. And like you said, you've been there for 3 years. If you mind, can you give us a little rundown from your experience, like the history of Consec, what they do, and how they help individuals with their money?
Okay. Maybe the reason why not everybody knows Consec, it is because we don't have any offices in the Czech Republic. We have only one building in Prague. So that's why, for example, in Ostrava or in Brno or in Frýdek, místě Karviná, they don't know Consec because they don't see it in their squares, in their towns. So yes, sometimes it's a problem. They say, we have never heard anything about Consec. But maybe this could be the reason I've just said. So yeah, I think there are some information which are really important to say to your clients and to your colleagues, because not everybody not everybody knows that Consec celebrated 30 years on the Czech market. So there are 30 years of investing experiences, which is great, I think. So this company was founded in 1994. That's great, and I think everybody should know this information. What's more, that Consec is a private and independent company, not belonging to any other group of banks or insurance companies. And I believe this delivers many benefits to the clients and to the advisors, to the business representatives, because we are flexible, So I think this is the main benefit. What's more, Consec is Czech company, so I believe that we understand what Czech need. They are typically very conservative, and they earn and spend Czech money. However, if your clients wish to invest in foreign currencies, we can offer it.
Yeah.
What I really feel it's important and it's happening in Consec that we strive to be highly open, because that there are some lows and highs on the market, and we don't hide anything. We just communicate this, and we are highly open with our information when providing reports. So we are transparent, and you can find every information on our website. So this is really important. What's more, our investment team is one of the most experienced in the field on the market of the Central Europe region. So this is another benefit. And finally, I would like to say that Consec does not provide investment banking services and does not run own sales network, which means that we do not compete with the sales representatives with whom we work. This is really important. So yeah, I think we are flexible. We are ready to help you, and we are very open. And these all, I think it's important to communicate to your clients and to your colleagues.
Yeah, I agree. And I like I noticed with Consec, you guys are always growing your portfolio, whereas some other companies tend to change and maybe decrease their portfolio. But I've noticed that you guys always have good conservative options, more dynamic options as well, index funds, mutual funds, etc. And it's always growing, which I really, really like.
I always say that there are three, I would say maybe points where Consec is really strong. The first one are bonds. We are very strong at bonds. The second one is our DPS. That's a great product called Zenit. And the third point is the center part of Europe. We are really strong, and we often go to that countries like Poland, of course, Czech Republic and Nordic area. These are the regions we very often visit. Because it's easy to go there, It's not easy to go to USA for us. That's why we can offer some funds which are about investing in this region, but it's not our fund. It wasn't made in our building, but we can offer it. Of course, we can offer more than 1,300 funds, which is great. Again, it's very wide. I'm sure that every client will choose what he or she wants.
Amazing. And how would you say? Because I know there's always this kind of smell that Czechs or Eastern European countries are very conservative with their investments, right? And even starting just 30 years ago, how have you seen the change in sentiment between the Eastern European countries in terms of their attitude towards investing? Have you seen a growth in that, or do you feel that people are still as conservative? Is that why maybe the Consec is so good with bonds, because that's more of a conservative option? Yes,
you're right. The situation is getting better. I'm really happy that I can say this. On the other hand, there are still two, I would say, waves. The first are really typically conservative Czech people who don't invest. Probably they will never invest. They want to have their money at home or in the bank. And they are always asking, I will buy something which is guaranteed. Guaranteed, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The second wave is absolutely different. They want to buy Bitcoin and these kind of currencies.
Oh, really?
Because the scissors, I would say, are opening in this.
It's
way.
one extreme to the other.
Yes. We as a Czechs, we are very conservative, but I think the main reason is it comes from our history. It comes from communism. And I think it's definitely up to you to learn or to make your clients invest. You have to start very carefully, and then every meeting with your clients to show more and more. For example, my parents, they are about 70. They live in a small village. They worked all their life for one company. So what they earned, they feel like it's their everything. But they are investors. They invest in Consec and they invested all money. So I think if you explain the issue and if you are patient, I think you can find a lot of clients who will change their minds and they will invest. Okay, maybe in conservative funds, but they don't invest it through the banks, but through conservative funds.
Yeah.
Because I can see, and I'm sure that there are more pluses to have it in funds than keep it or leave it in the banks.
Yeah, and I think like you were explaining, that it comes down to trust as well, and it's your parents trust you,
Yeah.
and so you were able to help them with the
Mhm.
investments, and so too when we come back to a good financial advisor, it's based on trust too.
Yes, they trust me. Yes, of course, I'm their daughter. But I can tell you, they started with a little money. Just they tried it, and after one year, they really invested all they had, because they know they if they need money, they don't have to wait 6 months. They have it in a week, which is great. It's very similar and very similar to the bank's option.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of people will think when you start an investment that you can't touch it until the agreed time that you signed it for, but it's not like that. Like you said, it's like a week you can actually get it. Yeah. Good
And I
point.
think, and I think it's good not to push. I
Yeah.
always say, try it. Just try it. You can start with 200 krone.
Mm.
Yeah. And they try, they see it, they like it, and it works.
Beautiful. No, thank you for that. And how do you see, like, with the growth in access to other international funds, right? Do you see a lot of Czech people, a lot of business opening up for people to invest in like index funds in the US or et cetera, et cetera? Do you see like there's a lot of desire in that or growth in that?
Well, I think it's not about the clients. I think it's about you, the financial advisors, how you communicate it and how you build the portfolio.
Yeah. And I think these days, it's becoming, everything is available online, right? So people read things or hear things. And I know a lot of my clients, the first thing, so it's interesting to know if it's the same with Czechs, because I don't have so many Czech clients, or if it's more international. When you're talking about investments, they're like, oh yeah, S&P 500, right? And this is like their knowledge. So when you say something like that, they're like, okay. But I don't know if it's the same for Czechs in general, if they know that term.
Yeah. I'm always asked some questions like, what about DIP? How it works from Germany? And I always say, well, it's not about the clients, it's about the financial advisors, if they offer it or not.
Yeah.
A lot is up to you guys.
Yeah, true.
For sure. Awesome. And we do appreciate like kind of breaking that down for us in terms of the history of Consec and everything. And kind of another question I had is more kind of it's kind of a situation that kind of live in, looking at the broad, kind of like if we zoom out a little, right, and we kind of look at the world around us and how those actually do kind of affect the markets. There's a lot of talk about like commercial real estate in the US. How it's there are a lot of, like, because of COVID, kind of a lot of offices, are not utilizing their resources there. So there's a lot of like unrealized losses. And then there are these index funds that track, real estate and commercial real estate. How do you, a lot of people then say this is a time bomb, like this is it's gonna have a massive impact. So from your perspective, what is your assessment of that, if you've heard of it, and what is your assessment there?
Well, it always depends where it should be a time bomb, right? If we talk about China, yes, maybe there is a time bomb. But on the other hand, for example, in our condition or in the USA, we in Consec don't think there is some reason for having troubles because, for example, in the USA, thanks to the Trump's tariff, the interest rate will stay higher, which will cause the higher housing cost. So we don't see any troubles there. And in our condition in Czech Republic, the situation is different. But let me tell you some opinions, because not everybody will agree with me, of course. And this is changing during the time. But here I feel that in Czech Republic, there is also no reason to be afraid of some kind of time bomb, because, as I said, we are specific. I mean, Czech Republic is really specific, and a lot comes from the history from the communism, because we have always found owning or having some flat or house or real estate as a kind of certainty. The Czech love to own some place for living. So I think we will always want to buy some place for living. And there is another reason, because in Czech there is a tradition of inheriting flats, for example. So if you want to buy a larger or newer, you just sell the old one and pay the rest for the larger and newer one.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we will always want to have our own flat or house or whatever. What's more, the Czech Republic is very well situated, and this is attractive for some companies, and the prices are more acceptable than another countries in Central Europe. So that's why I think there's no reason for a time bomb. But as I said at the beginning, there are some countries, regions where it could be. For example, in China, I think there are a lot of information about the situation there. So yeah, it always depends where, but we don't feel like, in Czech or in the USA, there should be any problem.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And because a lot of the kind of a background behind that kind of question is, there's a wave of businesses and US companies come into Europe for cheaper labor, for cheaper businesses, right? So you can see a lot, if you look into Prague, a lot of businesses are building different shared services, etc., etc. So there's always been this expanding of businesses. And a lot of time what happens is that after a while, because of the growth of the economy in the Czech Republic, the cost that the US or these international companies are looking for gets too expensive. So they look to kind of like sell some of their, not sell, but like send some of their work to, let's say, India or all these cheaper places. So have you not seen that in the commercial areas, like the business real estate, is a lot of like with people, like you have people doing home office 50-50. There's a lot of like, let's say, a lot of empty places there. You don't see that in terms of your assessment there as well?
Yes, I know. There are some funds which have some troubles because they bought some building and the spaces are empty. Yes, I know, but we don't have this kind of troubles because I think our team with the funds which are concentrated in this area are okay. So yeah, I know what you mean, but it depends what you buy and how careful you choose it. Yeah. And what's more, I just wanted to say something, but I think I forgot it. Yeah, we still see the space, or we still think there is a space to grow,
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, I see. So I mean, like, and then, like with any investment, right, you should have like an understanding of the timeline you want to invest in, right? What kind of returns on investment you kind of want, right? And even how much you want to invest as well. So all those things do come into consideration. As financial providers, we have to like keep on the lookout for certain opportunities and things when to come out or go in, etc., etc. Okay, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I do see construction sites everywhere around Prague. Wherever there's like this flat piece of land somewhere, they're digging it up and they're putting buildings there. So yeah, there must be any.
It's interesting. that if you see the new project from, for example, Central Group, which is the biggest, largest in the Czech Republic, they start some project and during 1 week it's sold. So
Yeah.
that's why maybe that's another reason why I think there is no trouble.
I see. There's always business people are always looking for the opportunity with even in the Czech Republic in general, in Prague as well. Real estate in general is really expensive. So people see that there can be some return on investment because of the growth of everything, kind of in that regards. Okay, makes sense.
It can also be, also with real estate, even though it's more, I guess, conservative and suit Czechs, particularly because they do generally like real estate, but it's not necessarily a 1 or 2 year investment, is it? It still takes time. It's still not recommended for 1 or 2 year period, but 5 or more.
Yeah, of course, there is a generation of people who will never afford owning their flats. Of course, yes, I know, but there are still those who can because they inherited the flat.
Yeah.
And that's actually quite an interesting thing. I know this wasn't actually a topic that we discussed before, but like many young people have a lot of fears in terms of will they ever be able to afford a property, and actually I've seen a lot of times that what's happening is that parents are taking out the equity in their home and giving it to their children to actually afford the deposit to actually afford the home. Have you actually seen that as well? Or I don't know. I mean, that's a different question, but like,
yeah.
Okay. So, but there's always hope. There's always a strategy out there, right, to find a solution in order to get the things you want. It's just understanding how much you want it and what are you prepared to do, and then who can help you to achieve those things, right? Amazing. Awesome. So kind of another thing that's kind of like related to the international sphere of things is like US tariffs. You know that America, they are big when it comes to like mutual funds and the index funds. They're the biggest market, the biggest industry, right? Where that really does a lot of the growth. And so like we're just kind of curious, like from your perspective, how you feel that US tariffs that a lot of people have talked about from Donald Trump may have an impact on index funds. Will things go up or things go down, or will there be different sentiment, or how do you see it from your perspective?
Well, I will answer you, but now maybe I will surprise you because I want to ask you guys, were you surprised when Donald Trump won?
Yes and no.
Not really.
Yeah. Yes and no. I think it was like the last time he won. I was kind of surprised, but then when you look into it a bit more, then not so surprising. Yeah.
Now you that he won. Are you okay with it?
I'm not American, so
yeah,
maybe it doesn't affect me as much, but obviously, and
but I think it affects all the world.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, for my point of view, and I know we don't generally talk politics, but for me, a leader, particularly of the wealthiest nation in the world, should be someone that you admire and look up to, right? And for me, he's the opposite. So but it seems to be a current trend around the world that these leaders are getting put into power, which is a shame. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Well, back to your question. First of all, it's necessary to say it depends on what you really, what you exactly buy in the index and how strong the economic is, of course. But it's not easy to choose because you know that in passive funds, in index, in ETF, you cannot change the portfolio inside the fund, and there is no portfolio manager who would do it. So this is good to remember. Well, Donald Trump has proposed a 60% tariff on goods from China and a tariff, if I'm not mistaken, of up to 20%, 10 or 20% on everything else the United States import. So from this point of view, maybe you should start to buy the companies which are not fully dependent on the foreign suppliers. And this is not easy because in index you usually find everything. But I think, it's my opinion, it's time to buy the American home producers. I think it's good to start to buy this.
So when you say,
sorry. And of course, it's Friday. I don't want to forget. But I think it's really perfect to mix the both passive and active funds in the portfolio, especially when your client wants to invest for a long time. For example, the reason would be the pension, for example. So if you mixed everything in one portfolio, it's okay. I don't like the trends, I don't feel like, you should follow the trends. I think you should invest to America, to Europe, to India, to every part of the world, and to every sector, and then the portfolio is absolutely great.
Yeah.
To real estate, of course, to bonds, to have everything in your portfolio. That's the best way.
I mean, that's diversification is super important, right? And even diversification of industry, diversification of country, right? Because if one country doesn't do well, I think we live in such a globalized world today that everything does trend up together. But there, if you look inside to the matrix, you can see that some are going down, some are going up because of increase of trade, increase of this, that, the other. So having that diversification of actual indexes, right, that are working for you or different things could actually be quite a powerful solution in terms of not being too weighted into something else, right? I think of just following the trend and everyone just kind of like chasing the same thing.
Well, the people, especially young people, want to invest only to indexes. But you have to realize that this kind of funds worked very well because the last 10 years, the interest rate was very low. And that's why it worked very good. And I know, it's cheaper, of course, but cheaper doesn't mean everything in the world. So, I think you have the great opportunity to mix both passive and active. And you have great opportunity to explain it, why you have decided to buy active or passive, because both of them have their pluses and minuses. And that's great for you to communicate it because the door is opening for you and you have the theme. That's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and you have to realize that these tariffs are providing domestic producers room to increase their prices and will protect domestic produced goods. So that's why I said maybe it's time to buy American producers.
Yeah. And when you mean home producers, do you mean the people that actually build the homes, right?
Domestic, sorry.
American domestic home producers, correct?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, the ones that make the homes, right, in the US.
Sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. So you believe that because there's a short supply of houses there, right? There's people are looking to that. Well, they're going to try and like really take care of themselves, get some more supply, so that can actually help with the demand that is there, right? Okay, makes sense. And like then what do you think that Europe should be doing? So when they face that that kind of like behavior from the US, is there something that Europe? I know this is not a question I asked you before, but like, do you feel that the spending habits will change a little in Europe, or trying to buy in house in Europe per se?
How house in Europe? What do you mean?
No, buy more domestic in terms of like buying things domestic because the US is trying to protect themselves. Do you think Europe is going to try and do the same in terms of buying things in house, like in Europe?
Maybe I feel that we could follow it because we should support our, domestic producers.
Right.
Yes. I don't want, for example, Czech Republic to be to buy so many things from China. I don't think that's okay. Yeah. So maybe we should do some similar steps like Donald Trump has proposed.
Okay.
Yeah. It won't be easy, but I think it would give some solutions for the next generations, maybe.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you have a question as well, Leigh?
Well, I guess we can move on to the next kind of topic. Was more general about what do you think people should be mostly aware of when it comes to like financial advisors and investments and things like this?
First of all, from my experience, I think they should know why they should run. they should know what you can do for them, what kind of service you can do for them. And as we said at the beginning, I think that they should know what they pay for, because this kind of service is not paid, but they pay, for example, the entry fee, of course, And I think this is more up to you to explain what you saved, what you did for them, and to say that they would never have this kind of service, for example, in the bank. So that's more up to you, I think. And as we said, there should be the same, relationship like with doctors, of course. So because when you trust, you pay and you are okay with the fees. So yeah, this is really important, I believe.
On that topic, I realized that we're always paying extra for everything, and people just don't realize. You go to the supermarket, you buy a box of cereal, you're not just paying for the cereal, you're paying for the plastic it's in, the box, the marketing, all of these things. Yeah.
Yeah, but in some kind of field, it's different, because when you go to the supermarket, you do shopping because you are hungry and you need to eat.
Yeah.
But if you go to the financial advisor, you are not always sure that you need him or her. So I feel that it's more up to you to explain what you exactly do. And I think that every time you meet your client, you should show the results of your job. For example, when we talk about investments, when the trade is low, you should explain it, why it is low, and you should say what the clients should do. Yeah, if the market is high, you can show how much the client is earning right now. So I'm sure there are always, rooms for discussion, for communication. And as I said, if you buy something, you buy it because you like it, or you need it, or you are hungry, you are thirsty, you need it. But not every client is sure that he or she needs the financial advisor. So please more sell what you do. Send the clients, call you whenever they need some financial service. Okay.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, and I know that you don't do it, but please do it. The clients should know that you have to have a license, that you have to go to many trainings, that you have to improve yourself, because it's like the doctors, they have to improve. They have to study all their life, because the medicine is changing, and your work is changing. When I left General Investments, because I worked there before Consec, there were no indexes in Czech environment. And when I started to work in Consec, everybody wanted indexes. I was like, come on, what is it? Because I spent 6 years with my children, and I had no idea that there are some trends. So yeah, you have to study all your life if you want to be better. So please sell it. And of course, you have a lot of experiences, and you often work in the evenings during the weekends, and people have no idea you do it. So you should say it, because they don't know it. They think that, as I said again, you need them, but it's opposite thing.
Yeah. Nice.
I think I totally agree with that. Like, I think, when you were in schools, Zuzana, were you taught financial literacy?
No.
Were you taught that in school, Leigh?
No, of course not.
Neither was I. So if people don't know how to manage their resources, right, they will never be in control of their own lives, right? And so I definitely agree with that sentiment that, money doesn't sleep. And so those that do study money, right, or study the movement of money, need to always be on top of it, top of those things. So the client does pay for that service. I mean, you get what you pay for. If you feel you can just get something for free, then that's probably what you will get, right? Something that's not worth anything, right?
Exactly.
Zero. So I think that's a really important conversation that people really need to have, like the value of financial literacy, because in today's world, this information is kind of missed for everybody, right? And if you, for those that really want it, they get it, right? But they know they need
Mhm.
to pay the cost for it.
Mhm.
No.
And yeah, you're right. And in investments, for example, when talking about the fees, don't hide anything. Just communicate it, because in the banks, people don't have the information that there are some fees.
Yeah.
After they sign it or they send money, they are surprised. Oh, there are some fees. So I think you can openly communicate it, and then I think there will be the trust you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think every opportunity to build that trust is important to bring it up, right? So things are not in the shadows, let's say.
It's important in every relationship.
Yeah.
100%. So then, kind of linked with that, like in this sphere of like conversation, what is the average? What should the average person know about personal finances that they don't, that most don't?
Mhm. I think that they should know how and how much they should save or invest, and they shouldn't rely on the state. For example, I feel that the Czechs still rely on the state, that the state will take care of them, that they will still get the pension from the state, which is not true. There are no money, So they should know that the earlier they start, the more they earn, and more dynamic can be. So this is also again great opportunity for you to explain, to show it, that they have to start very early, but not only for the pension reason, but for the family, for the kids, for the new car, for living, of course. And it's great that they can start only with a few money, just a little money, and every time you meet your client, you can hire the amount. So they don't know the reason why they should invest or save. Yeah, they still believe that somebody will or someone will take care of them. Another problem is that they save in pension, insure, or they have their money in the banks. And I think that's crazy, because there are more than 2 million of Czech people who had their money in pension, in old pension product. And they have it because nobody was, informed there, or they have it because they say, well, my money is in a safe place because they I don't lose anything. So that's another problem. Or I know that there are still some people who have their money at home, which is absolutely crazy. There can be a fire, there can be another problem, and they will never see their money again.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And I think that people hardly understand that money makes money, and that the longer you invest, the more you have.
Yeah, patience.
Yeah. And in my opinion, people do not know what fund is. They don't know the pluses of it. So this is another topic for you, because they don't know how it works, how many pluses are inside the funds. So yes, please communicate this. Because as I said, we don't usually meet the clients, because the clients for Consec are you, the financial advisors.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is they do not have any financial plan. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest problem is they don't know the reason why.
And I guess that's our story. That's our job to visualize and create a story of why they should really have a financial plan. Like if you have no plan, you'll just be wondering, right? If a boat is just sailing in the sea and has no plan, it's just going to wander and go nowhere, right? So it's kind of similar with with people's finances in that way. If you don't have a plan, things will be bad. If I'm trying to make it right.
If people understand why, it will be much more easier for you. but they have to understand why.
Yeah, it starts with why.
I think it's great for you advisors. There are so many topics to be discussed, and
Yeah.
I know that the people, the people working in the banks, they will never communicate this.
No, there's no
They
relationship.
don't have any time for it.
Yeah, I agree. I can see there's a huge difference to if I meet a client that has been to a bank or something like that, and the products that they get. There's no why involved, right? There's no personal relationship getting to know the clients at all.
And it's good for you that you have the whole portfolio of the client, like the doctor. Okay.
Yeah, and exactly. I love that it's building someone's financial future from A to Z, and building that relationship along the way. And that's one of the things I love the most about my job and doing this. And nowadays, because I've been doing it for a few years now, when I have service meetings with my clients, I'll meet them. It's over coffee or beer. It's not in the office or anything, but I get to know them and the family really well.
And I'm sure that during the relationship with your clients, they will become your friends. Because
Yes.
I have this experience.
Yep, definitely. Yeah.
I had a lot of people from OVV on my wedding day.
Oh, really?
A lot of friends, Yeah,
Yeah.
because it works. There's a relationship and it works.
Yeah.
And the same you and your clients, of course.
Yeah.
I would never invite the woman from the bank. Yeah, of course. There's no relation.
That actually creates a question for me. Like, why do you think people trust banks more than they trust financial advisors?
Because of the history. Because the first bank was founded 400 years ago, and financial advising, if I can say it like this, was found in 1974. So that's the big difference. And I think there's only one reason: it's the history, nothing else.
I love to study, history of finance, history of money. And if you understand the banks, if you understand the history of most banks, you recognize that they're not as trustworthy as you say, as they are presumed, right? And so it's, so if people really understood the history of banking and just the term, just the feeling, they would realize that they would want someone that is on call, right? That they can actually talk to on a regular basis to understand what's really happening with their money, or what's really happening in their resources, right? Because they are like a stakeholder of like protection, right? Because we can't carry all the wealth in our hands all over the place, right? So we're also those type of people, just in a different, but in a more personal relationship way, right?
Well, I think it's history, as I said, but maybe there is another reason, like the building they are sitting in, and maybe, for example, the building, or I don't know. I cannot see anything else. Just history and building.
Yeah.
So we need to tell a better story, I guess. Tell a better story. Tell a better reason why they should consider us, right? Better than how banks presume and project essence and flow and wealth and all this type of stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I can see it here in Consec. When clients come to Consec, they are absolutely okay and they trust everything because they are in the building.
Yeah.
But if I meet them in the restaurant, they don't trust anything at all. The building is magic.
It's from some kind of like protection, right? Safety that we have. We actually, when we talk to our clients, we kind of communicate a financial house, and how a house brings safety and security. And so sometimes if you just do things that are not like, if you have a tent or you project your business as a financial advisor as like a tent or something, it's going to feel very safe in that regards.
But I know that you are quite close to our building, so you are always welcomed here in Consec. If you feel that some client would really appreciate it, just call me. Call me, yes, and we can meet here. Yeah.
And where is the building?
Do you know where Palladium is? Or
Oh yeah, that's right. Palladium. Yeah, that's
right. Yeah. When I went to your office, I walked because it takes only 20 minutes to get to your place.
Oh wow,
No,
Is it
Mercer Republic, right?
No, Czech Republic. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Very nice.
What Palladium is.
Yeah.
If you didn't get any Christmas present, go to Palladium and you can go
Stop by
come
and say hi.
Say I will make beautiful coffee for you.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Sounds like a deal.
Sounds like a deal. I love it.
Cool.
So,
Well, thanks very much, Zuzana. It was really good to chat with you and get your experience as well.
Thank you
So-
for having me. Thank you very much.
and I'm sure we'll have you on again as well to talk
Yeah.
different questions that we have.
Yeah.
Might even do a round table of advisors or different key account managers. Who knows? See how each other talks about different situations and opportunities. But we definitely do appreciate your time and your patience with us.